Good morning. Welcome to YourPrimetimeSports.com. I'm Dave Grimm. That's Clifton Garmrath. And we are live from Batten's Donuts and Bakery for another edition of Double G Sports Talk Saturday. And how you doing this morning?
I'm good.
We
tired, but I'm good.
Well, last night was awfully draining. That when you broadcast or when you're even out in weather like we were out in last night, it is awfully draining. It was monsoon rains at times at Nettleton last night where we were, where Nettleton surprisingly upended Paragould 37-8 last night.
Yeah, you know, Paragould jumped off to the first touchdown lead 6 seconds into the second quarter. They chewed up most of the clock, moving the ball on the ground in the first quarter. And, you know, I thought, wow, Paragould looks good, just like we've seen them at Beebe, you know, or when they played Beebe. And so anyway, the next thing we know, after kickoff, Nettleton runs 4 scores in a row on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, they just everything was unanswered for Nettleton from that point forward. They ran off 37 consecutive points.
Well, no, they did, but they 30 in the second quarter alone. They scored once in the second half.
Right.
But and that was probably their second string. But they just, after a misplay on Paragould's part, you know, they scored on that. And
it was like somebody flipped a switch on Nettleton's offense because their first drive, nothing. And then Paragould led this methodical drive that chewed up almost all the first quarter, marched it down the field, and scored at the very first play of the second quarter to make it 8-0. And it was like, from that point forward, Nettleton said, okay, we're done playing now.
You know what was funny was Paragould scored with 11:54, I believe it was, left in the second quarter, so they scored within that first 6 seconds. Within the next minute, the score was 16-8.
That's right. I know.
In less than a minute.
Just like that.
It just happened that quick. And,
so that was that one. And it was surprising to us because Paragould had been playing well as of late. They beat Beebe at Beebe, and then they hung around with Batesville for a while on their home turf over here. But the key to that, and Coach Branham and I talked about this last Saturday on the show. They had dismissed a player from the team for whatever reason, and it was their lead blocker coming out of the backfield. Well, I'm just going to say it was D'Angelo Rice. He's no longer with the team, and he was the one that was creating the holes for the running backs. Without him back there doing that, and without someone taking his place, they're struggling.
Right.
So that's what's going on with Paragould right now. Hopefully for them, they'll bounce out of that. They'll find somebody to fill that role. The other 3 games in the 5A East last night, bringing that up for us right now, the Wynne Yellowjackets tied at halftime with the Beebe Badgers, 28-28. End up shutting them out in the second half and end up 56-28, the final score there, which when we saw that halftime score, we thought it must be a mistake. It was not.
Well, it was not, but I also felt like that there would be an outcome of what you just read once Coach Hill got his players inside the dressing room.
Well, the game was at Beebe, and I guess it took Wynne a little while to get in gear on that game. We're going to have them on Your Primetime Sports Friday night, facing off against the next team we're going to talk about, the Batesville Pioneers, who had no trouble whatsoever handling what we thought was, well, they may still be a resurgent Forrest City team, 45-6. We thought that would be a closer game. Bruce Guthrie thought that game would be a tight game and that it would be a battle for second place in the conference, and it may very well have been a battle for second place, but it wasn't very much of a battle. 45-6, the final score on that one.
Yeah, that, you know, we talked about that last night. Forrest City coming into conference play as of last night, 2-0. I always felt like they were the sleeper team of the conference. You know, they were 0-9-1 last year in the conference, and I just felt like they were going to be a much improved team. And up until last night, they had showed that. So, but, you know, when you're playing against a powerhouse like Batesville, I don't care who you are. It's a tough thing to play against a team like Batesville. Coach King always has his players prepared. They are a football community. They're well groomed and prepared for every Friday night at Batesville.
Well, Batesville's got a tough task ahead of them. Like I said, we're going to be there in Wynne Friday night for the battle for what we think is going to be the battle for the conference championship. Batesville at Wynne this Friday on your PrimetimeSports.com.
Talking about Coach King, and I want to throw this in, that at 2 o'clock today I will be in Batesville covering the boys and girls individual pictures for the basketball magazine coming out in November.
It's your Primetime Sports basketball magazine, much like the football magazine we already have had out.
The head basketball coach calls me, I believe it was Thursday, and says, Clifton, I have 7 players that will not be there for the boys.
Oh, my.
And I said, okay. And he said, Coach King will not let them be there because he does not want his boys interrupted.
Oh, my.
Which is on a Saturday at 2 o'clock. But he doesn't want his play. And you know, I told Coach, I said, hey, tell Coach King it's okay. I understand. I mean, we'll get them somehow, some way. And we're going to work through that. But he is so focused already. Coach King, that's who I'm talking about. He is so focused right now and getting his players focused on next Friday night's game that he did not want them 7 players there to just step in and get a
Well, maybe
a
after
headshot.
that game is over with, maybe you can talk him into.
We have another route we're going to go. I'll get some help up there to get those 7 and his assistant coach. And it's okay. We'll get what I can get today with the girls and what boys are there, and it'll all work out. But these coaches,
they get so,
They get so focused.
I want to use single-minded in a positive way, because most of the time you hear the phrase single-minded, it's a negative connotation. Not so when you're a football coach.
And keep
That's
in
what
mind,
you want to be.
And keep in mind what I'm discussing here and what I'm bringing up here is not a pointing a finger at or saying anything negative about Coach King. I'm being positive here. That's the reason I'm telling the story. That's why he is the successful coach that he is, and it's why his players are who they are, is because he keeps them grounded and he keeps them focused week after week, day after day. And they're a week away from playing Wynne, and he don't want them there. And it's okay.
Well, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. So I thought that was, it's tough on me putting a magazine together,
right?
But it's cool how he goes about that.
Well, we'll find out if that focus and that determination pays off for him Friday night at Wynne.
Well, it will be the game of the year for
we're
us,
have
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We actually, when you were putting the schedule together and you sent it to me for me to sign off on, I looked at that and I thought, wow, that's going to be the game. And, Dave put schedules together knowing, like I know, he made the comment to me last night. I haven't signed off on the basketball schedule yet. But
close, very close.
But one of the games that he has of the 32 that we're going to televise is Wynne at Brooklyn. And I seen that, and it didn't dawn on me at the very moment till Dave says, you know why I chose that game? That's Bobby Gross, the head coach of Brooklyn Bearcats, who used to be the head coach at Wynne, and I thought, well,
you have to look for the matchups.
Yeah, you got to look for the matchups, and you got to put all that together.
We've got a bunch of them like that. We've
sure.
got grudge match between. I'm getting off subject for just a little bit. Manila and Buffalo Island Central grudge match in basketball. Of course.
Now, hang on a minute. Why is Manila and Buffalo Island?
That's the oldest rival for them now. Ever since Buffalo Island Central came into being after consolidating Leachville and Monette together.
Okay.
Manila has been their big rivalry game.
Okay. Right down the road.
It's non-conference, and they still play each other twice a year.
Sure.
And it's literally their neighbor rivalry game.
Kind of like it was kind of like the Nettleton Tech football game, first of the year and last of the year. They were rivalries. They're right down the road, and they drew big crowds.
Right, exactly, yeah. And if they,
or not at last year, it was the first game of the season, non-conference, and then in the middle of the conference season, they played again.
You're talking about Paragould Tech.
No.
You're talking about Nettleton Tech.
No, I'm talking about. You're right. I said Nettleton.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Talking about Paragould Tech.
Right.
They played the first game, then they played the last game.
And the basketball schedule that I put together that we haven't put up yet, is filled with games like that.
Oh, yeah.
That are matchups that people are going to be interested in. So I'll have that for you soon. But we're getting off the subject. We've got one more football game to talk about.
Oh, well, I thought the subject was sports.
You're right. One more football game to talk about, and this one was a heartbreaker right here in Paragould. Last night, the Blytheville Chickasaws came to town and held off the Greene County Tech Eagles 22-16. And we're going to talk to Coach Conaway hopefully very soon about that game. You're going to talk to him when he comes in momentarily. But that puts Blytheville in a tie for third place with Forrest City now. Both teams, after a slow start for Blytheville, they're now right up in the thick of things, 2-1 in conference play. And we can look at who these teams are going to be playing next week. Of course, Batesville and Wynne tied at the top, 3-0 in conference play. And right now is where you start looking at playoff points as well, because when you get into ties and stuff like that, each team is awarded points for tiebreaker purposes up to and including 13 points, depending on how much they beat their conference opponent by. So in the case of Batesville and Wynne, they have blown out all three of their conference opponents so far. So they've been awarded the maximum of 13 for each of those games that they have played. So they're literally tied in every aspect, not only in the record but the playoff points as well. And they're going to break that tie Friday night. Each of them have 39 playoff points.
Excuse me, I've sneezed.
Yeah, that's okay.
I sneezed twice while you were talking there. Thank you for taking over. But anyway, yeah, you're right.
They're tied in every way.
Now
3-0 and 39 playoff points.
This is at the top of our Facebook page again.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's
a neat graphic. They put that together for football season. I've seen a lot of comments, positive comments. Thank you for doing this. Blah blah blah. But anyway, it's neat. You can go and look at that. Look at that layout.
You can look and see what the scores of their past games were and look at what they've got coming at the same time, which is what I'm doing right now to tell you what these playoff points are. Because Blytheville and Forrest City are now tied for third place with 2-1 records. Now, the playoff points is what comes into play here. Blytheville has, 5 plus 8. They have 13 playoff points total of their two victories. 13 playoff points combined, while Forrest City has 13 plus 5 is 18. So Forrest City has the edge in playoff points. So if you were to go straight down the row, Forrest City would be the team that's in third place, and Blytheville would be in fourth place based on that.
Right.
Then next in line, on the outside looking in, are Nettleton and Paragould at 1 and 2 in conference play. And they only have each of their lone victories to go by on playoff points. Nettleton got all 13 of theirs last night, and Paragould has 7 playoff points based on their 7-point win over Beebe. And then the final two teams at the bottom are 0-3, Beebe and Greene County Tech. They haven't won a game. They don't have any playoff points.
I would have never dreamed that either one of those teams would be 0-3 right now.
Not Beebe and not Greene County Tech.
Yeah.
You're right.
Neither one of them. Not sure what's going on there, but just it's very surprising to see 0-3 for next to both those schools. But Blytheville is doing a lot better this year, and Forrest City obviously having a turnaround season at this point.
Well, there are right now clear leaders, and other teams on the outside looking in. And that's going to shake out even more as we go, as it always does. And next week's games are no different. Batesville and Wynne, we've been talking about that one all morning. That's where we're going to be. And that's going to show us who will be in sole possession of first place. The other games on tap for this coming Friday, Beebe at Blytheville. Beebe at Blytheville. That's going to be a home game for Blytheville against a struggling Beebe team.
I'm going to pick Blytheville.
I would too. And that would put them in a tie for second place with whoever loses the Batesville-Wynne game, if they win that game.
By the way, I'll just tell you my picks here.
Okay, well, the next game is that we want to talk about is Forrest City hosting the Paragould Rams, and that's going to be a tough one for the Rams.
I'm going to pick Forrest City.
I would like to see Paragould win that.
Well, I would too, but I'm just being realistic here. I'm going to pick Forrest City.
The speed of Forrest City is...
I'm going to see if I can go 4-0 here for next Friday. I'm going to pick Guinn. I'm going to pick Blytheville.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick Forrest City.
And your other game is going to be Nettleton at Greene County Tech.
No,
that's not right. Is it? I think it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's at Greene County Tech.
At Greene County Tech, okay.
And you know what? I'm going with Greene County Tech, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Nettleton impressed me last night, but they both run the spread offense now, so there's going to be a lot of passing, a lot of things going on. Okay. Well, I take that back. Nettleton, they don't run that, but Greene County Tech does, and Nettleton has a lot of firepower with a lot of running backs, so they can do a lot of different things, a lot of schemes out there.
Nettleton had, I swear, 9 different kids touch the ball as a running back last night.
Before the score got out of hand and they started bringing their second string, we've seen at least 5.
Yeah, oh yeah. Before the second string came in, they were spreading it
5
out.
5 different running backs for Nettleton.
They're loaded at running back.
They are loaded, and I mean with speed and with quickness. So yeah, they have a lot of things. They have a lot of things going their way. But anyway, it's at Greene County Tech, so home field advantage.
See, I didn't know that Greene County Tech had 2 home games in a row.
John Boy, don't touch my camera.
I didn't realize that Greene County Tech had 2 home games in a row this year on the schedule. That may be wrong. I think that game might be at Nettleton. I may be wrong.
No, I looked at the schedule this morning.
It is at Greene County Tech.
It's at Greene County Tech.
All right. Okay, so that's basically the capsule of the 5A East for this week. And
so are you going
week?
the same picks I'm going with?
Oh, you want me to make picks also?
Yeah.
Okay, I am going to pick Greene County Tech in that game.
I did. Okay, so we're same.
Did you pick Greene County Tech over Nettleton?
Yeah,
okay.
I
wasn't paying attention. I rarely pay attention to you.
I know you. I know that. And I rarely pay attention to you.
So there we go. Greene County Tech over Nettleton. Yes. Forrest City over Paragould. My head says that's the game. My heart wants Paragould to win that one to stay in playoff contention, but Forrest City's tough. Blytheville and Beebe. Blytheville's going to be all over Beebe. That's no question. And we're simpatico, man. I don't see anybody beating Wynne until at least round 2 of the playoffs. I think they go undefeated in the regular season.
I don't even see anybody beating them in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I say at least round 2 of the playoffs. They could easily win the state championship this year. Yeah. They are that powerful. We talked about this last week, me and Bruce. Of the teams that we have seen on yourprimetimesports.com play this year, and we've seen some good ones. We've seen Jonesboro play. We've seen Batesville play. We've seen West Memphis play. And I said this to Bruce. I think Wynne could line up against any or all of those and beat them today. Jonesboro, West Memphis, any of them. And speaking of Jonesboro, before we go to break, last night, heartbreaker for Jonesboro. They were leading over the number 2 team in the state at halftime, 20-13, and did not score a point in the second half. They lost that game 27-20 to North Little Rock Charging Wildcats. Right? Yeah, wow. I hated to see that. Of course, Jonesboro is going to contend for a state title no matter what, but that could have really, really sent a statement across the state last night if they could have beaten the number 2 team in the state, and they were winning that game for a while.
Right.
So we kind of keep an eye on Jonesboro, too. We've had them twice this year on your primetime sports. We know all those coaches and a lot of those players, so we have an affection for those guys, and we hope they do well in the 6A, 7A playoffs this year. I don't see our guest yet. Do you?
No, I have not, and he's late sometimes, but are you sure he told you he would be here?
Texted me, said he would be here yesterday,
Yep.
so he should be coming in momentarily.
A lot of times, I mean, if he's not going to be late or not going to be here, he'll text me on my phone and say, I'm running late or whatever, and I've been looking at my phone, and I have not seen that from him.
Okay, well, we're going to take a
let's take break. Let's take a commercial break. That gives me time to do something, and we'll come back in 5 minutes.
5-minute break, and we'll be back on yourprimetimesports.com. And welcome back to yourprimetimesports.com and our first guest. You're going to be our first guest today.
I was not anticipating mid first, but I'll take it.
That's okay. This is Blake Guinn, the pride of Greene County Tech, who is now the weekend sports anchor and a sports reporter for Region 8 Sports, KAIT in Jonesboro. Thanks for coming in, man.
Hey, no problem.
And you
Anytime.
live, like, right over the way, right?
No, I live in Jonesboro.
You moved.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought you were driving back and forth.
No,
You
not
drove in from
anymore.
Jonesboro.
I just moved, whatever, but I will always come to Batten's because it's amazing.
Who's
Because
going
it
to
gets
turn
good
down
food.
Batten's?
That's what I told her. I said, you come with me, I'll go to Batten's and I'll eat.
The last time you were on with us was at the Greene County Tech Christmas Classic. You were only working part-time at Region 8
Yep.
at the time, so you were able to come on and do some play-by-play with us. And at that time, we were only internet radio.
Yes.
Whole new ball
Yes,
of wax now, man.
absolutely.
Internet, you're full-time at KAIT.
Yep.
And internet television is what we do now. So this is the first time our folks have gotten to see you on our airwaves.
Yeah.
Glad to
Well,
have
it's cool
you.
stuff, man. You guys have certainly stepped up in that department.
And we're also covering the entire 5A East now, rather
Yes,
than just
yes.
Paragould and Tech.
Right.
So you get to travel a lot. You get to go
Yeah.
around and see
Yeah.
almost every football team in Northeast Arkansas. Not just the 5A East either. All the 2A, 3A schools, 4A schools. Who has impressed you? Don't confine yourself to 5A East. Who has impressed you the most this year?
Jonesboro.
Jonesboro.
By far. Now, they had a really, really, really rough loss last night. They kind of made a little bit of a bad decision with a pass late in the game. It cost them the ball game against North Little Rock.
Were you at that one?
Yeah. I had to leave because we didn't actually go live out there because of the rain.
Yeah, all the rain was horrible.
But what happened was they ended up throwing a pass with like 2 minutes left, and they had the lead, and it got picked off, and North Little Rock beat them. But bottom line is that this group of folks came out here against the number 2 team with the guy who's going to committed to Alabama.
Yeah.
Shut him down several times and only lost by 7 points. So
And they led at halftime. We had the halftime score last night while we were broadcasting from Nettleton, 20-13, and we thought, of course, it was only a 7-point lead, but we said, well, Jonesboro's at home. They're on their way to a victory in the rain tonight. Not so. They didn't score a second half point. So who else do you like this year in any classification?
I really think when you look at it overall, we talk about 5A East, aren't we?
Well, you can talk about 5A East, but you can talk about 2A if you want to.
Well, I tell you what, the team who has impressed me that I did not know would impress me quite as much as they have is Wynne.
Really?
And I know a lot of people said they were good coming in, but when you really think about it, they had all the right pieces. And they've always seemed to struggle and they had high expectations in the past, but they did not this time. And they really shocked me a little bit coming out here.
They've dominated everyone they've played.
Everybody they played.
They've put in an entirely new offense at Wynne. For the first time, they're a passing team.
Which shows them to bend, which is what you've got to do. And sometimes these teams will get into these little situations where they'll get themselves into trouble trying to do the same stuff year after year. And when they bend like that, it's just impressive to me. I don't know.
Well, they're headed for a showdown. We keep hyping this game. Batesville travels to Wynne Friday night. We're going to broadcast the game.
Yeah.
Are you going to be at that game?
I would like to be.
You haven't headed out
so here's
assignment
the deal.
yet.
Chris is out of town next week, so I'll be doing the show from the station.
Oh.
So that'll probably
You'll have to stay close.
That'll
to
be
you
an
get
Adam Chrysler affair, probably. So he's going to go up there.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to be there, and it's going to be the game of the year in the 5A East.
Yeah.
Let's talk about East Poinsett County in the 2A. Have they lost a game?
No.
I don't think they
have.
have.
They haven't. They they had a little bit of a scare a couple of weeks ago against Cross County.
Okay.
But they ended up pulling away in the second half. But
they had a really close one with Walnut Ridge.
The thing you got to watch about, they played real close with Walnut Ridge. The thing that you got to watch with them, though, is that they've got a sophomore quarterback. And a sophomore quarterback is the type of guy that's going to have to make some mistakes at some point in time. And Aaron Scales is a fantastic quarterback for them. But he's still got some learning to do, and we saw that against Cross County. But this team's going to be good, and you can see down the line and in the future, they're going to have a chance to be real good.
Who you like in 4A? Let's jump to 4A.
Well, I've looked over the 4A conference, and it's kind of a tough one, but Highland seems to be running away with it.
Highland in a shootout against Greene County Tech in the rain in the non-conference schedule, held on and beat 5A East Greene County Tech, and have they lost any games?
No, they're playing like a 5A East team though.
Wow.
They've got Sterling Stowers, who has been with them for, I think he started for 3 years at quarterback. They got a couple of good running backs. They run out there. Highland's by far the best team in the 4A as far as our area.
In our area.
Right. Now, I can't speak for the other areas. We don't see them. But in the 4A, 3-4A, they're the best.
Does Highland have any major tests coming up in the last 4 weeks of the season?
Well, they're gonna play the Valley Views, the Pocahontas. I think they've already played Pocahontas and beat them, but Valley View's the only team that's going to be able to get anywhere close to them.
No slouch, Valley View.
Not at all.
They played last night. Wait a minute. Didn't they play Highland last night?
Did they play Highland last night?
I think Valley View played Highland last night. I may be wrong.
They might have. That's a very good possibility.
And I'll look that up next time we take a break. I think that was last night. But yeah, Highland, when they beat Greene County Tech, that got my attention anyway. So,
they're
and
good.
Greene County Tech's kind of down this year for unknown reasons. They've only won one game this year so far. So, but that's not taking anything away from Highland.
Well, no, they're a good 4A team, and occasionally these teams happen. And you look at Highland next year, and the outlook isn't so good for them. Teams go up and down. It's a roller coaster ride in high school sports, and it doesn't really matter who you are. At some point, you're going to run out of guys because you don't really control your guys that come through there. You don't recruit sometimes, and so. That's what you
don't recruit sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah. We won't go there, right?
There's all kinds of, we won't go there.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Let's look real quick at what your thoughts are on 3A football in our area before we move on to different things.
Well, the 3A is a conference I haven't really had the chance to cover a whole lot. I haven't seen a lot of them. They're kind of a tough conference in our area to kind of gauge because they're always a roller coaster ride. And to be honest with you, I probably couldn't give you a fair assessment of the 3A at this point in time.
Have you not in your travels gotten to be on the sidelines of a 3A team at all?
I've been, but it's been very, very rare. It's either a big game or it seems like I end up at between 2A and 4A or 5A. So we don't get to end up at those places a lot.
Talk about the likes of Hoxie and Rivercrest.
When you look at it, Hoxie's always a contender there. Rivercrest is better than they expected to be.
Earl is down a little bit this year.
They're down, and they had that rough loss with Corning because they were, they had that long travel that night and it rained. But I think you look at it, Earl's always going to be up there. But really the big team that has, I guess you could say, stood out to me in the 3A is Rivercrest because Kelly Chandler didn't think they were going to be very good this year. He thought they were a young team. It was going to be tough. And they ended up coming out and playing some really good games. So,
all right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a 2-minute break. When we come back, we'll talk about a couple of different things. We'll talk about life at Region 8 sports.
How about it? We'll do it.
And we'll talk about the upcoming basketball season. We're literally 2 weeks away from the small schools starting to play basketball. Can you believe that? Yeah.
Hard to believe.
So we'll take a 2-minute break and be back on YourPrimetimeSports.com. And welcome back, YourPrimetimeSports.com. Saturday morning, Double G Sports Talk Saturday here at Batten's Donuts and Bakery. Going to be a cool day, but a beautiful day later on today. The rain's supposed to clear out of here, and the sun's kind of out right now.
Yeah, it is.
It's not bad outside right now. We are talking to KAIT Region 8 Sports Weekend Sports Anchor Blake Guinn, and this coming week, it's not just going to be a weekend deal for you. It's going to be all week for you.
Yeah, it is going to be an all-week deal. Chris is going out of town because his brother's getting married, which is a good excuse. There are very few excuses that get you out of work during football season, but that's one of them. So pretty well all week. It's going to be
all week. You will be running the Region 8 mothership of sports.
Yeah, I guess I'll take over probably Thursday, really, when you think about it. I'll take over Thursday, and then I'll do football Friday night, and then Saturday we've got South Alabama.
Have you ever anchored the football Friday night show before?
No, I have not.
This is the
I
first.
have not. Now, I've seen a lot of it, and that was the thing is we were worried. Well, they were telling me I hadn't seen it, but I have seen quite a bit of it because I was back at the station last year, helping with scores and things like that. So it's not totally foreign, but to actually host the show and produce the show, it's two totally different things.
Are you looking forward to it?
Man, I'm a little, I guess so.
You guess.
It's a behemoth. When it's done, I'll look back and I'll go, man, that was fun.
You can put this on your resume reel, man.
It's a behemoth. Yeah, that's the thing. Resume reels, right?
Resume reel. Well, you got other things you can put on your resume reel, but for people that don't know, Greene County Tech graduate 2007 or 8?
2010.
2010. Wow, see, time just completely.
I move quick, though. I'm hard to follow.
That's right. 2010 Tech graduate. And actually, the first time Blake and I ever worked together was on Tech TV when he was like a freshman or a sophomore.
I was little, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like little and little.
And I was working at my other gig before this one, and we were going to simulcast the audio of Tech TV's game between whoever Tech was playing that night. I don't remember who it was. But he was the normal play-by-play guy, and I came in and did play-by-play, and he did color. We were a force to be reckoned with that night. It was fun.
It was fun,
and that was my first TV thing that I had done in years and years and years. And now look what I'm doing. I'm doing this stuff, and did a little bit of Region 8 stuff too before you got there. Did some stuff with Coach Nutt. So
yeah, I saw that.
I'm working my way back into TV now, and you started it back at Tech TV.
I did not even know that. The legacy.
That was my first TV thing in about 8 or 10 years. I did some stuff at Channel 50 in Hope years ago.
Yeah.
And so when I came and sat in with you that night, that was my first TV thing in many, many years. So it was all because of you, Blake.
Well,
and Pam Andrews.
Yeah, well, she's the one I give the credit to. Man.
She's the Tech TV advisor and has been for umpteen years at Greene County Tech, and that's where you started out in TV.
Yep, that was it.
So you got hired on full time back in the spring of this year at Channel 8. You were just doing news and some sports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you were basically interning there.
Well, I interned there actually about 4 years ago. It was in between my junior and my senior year. They tried to hire me on, then I couldn't do it because I was in high school. I didn't want to try. I still wanted to do the stuff with Tech TV. So what I ended up doing was I came back. I think it was like the week before I graduated, I came back. So it was April 2010, May 2010. We did that, and then I started to just slowly but surely work there, and built my way up from a camera operator to a producer.
You kind of wormed your way in, and
that's what you have to do though to get in. And then the sports job came open. I was still in school, and we had to have that little discussion, and he wormed his way in. Is that what he did?
That's what you got to do. It's what you got to do. It's Clifton off camera giving me a hard time. And so eventually, they said, we got a full-time gig. Would you like to do it?
They said, we have a full-time gig. You've worked hard. You've gotten it. And it's nice when your hard work pays off. So.
And sports is your thing. I mean, that's what I
like
started out doing. You were doing news for a little while there.
And I didn't like it.
I didn't.
It was, I've told a lot of people this, and that it is for some people, but I don't like to do the hard news. You find yourself out in an accident, and it's not fun to cover. I do want to make money off it. That's why I wanted to do sports. And for the most part, it's really, really, really lighthearted. And that's what I like to do. I can't get serious, if my life depended on it. And
with that being said, most of the new stuff that I saw you do was lighthearted anyway.
I tried to be. I tried not to be lighthearted with it.
The double murders or whatever was going on at the time. In fact, one of those stories, we ended up, it was the Wienermobile in Jonesboro, and I was doing the gig, and you showed up and started filming the Wienermobile. That was
anytime you get a chance to hang out with the Wienermobile.
Well, who's going to turn down hanging out with the Wienermobile? The basketball season, we were just talking about that, is about to start. What have you guys done? Are you prepping for it? Are you in any kind of basketball frame of mind whatsoever right now?
Man, we're starting to look at the start of practice with Brian Boyer started practice, which he's got a local player, Lindsay Kilo from CRA, that has walked onto the team, and he
also has a girl, Fowler from BIC, does he?
She's not there yet. She's got one more year now. She's committed, but she's not there yet.
Okay, she's still at BIC. She's a senior.
Yes,
okay.
You got to give her another year. But the big one that really stuck out to me was Lindsay Kilo. I mean, she's from CRA, and she's all-purpose, and she's a walk-on.
And we had her on a couple of radio games last year, too. Yeah. CRA girls were kind of tough last year.
They were tough, and she was a big part of that. So he's got her. Then we're going to start to look next week at John Brady, and ASU basketball starts practice next week. So we'll be all over that, and we'll have them. But that's the first basketball we're going to think about. We can't start thinking about basketball too quick, or we're going to overwhelm ourselves. But now we're going to do a preseason basketball special this year, which we've never done.
Wow,
so
really?
That's going to be something we're going to have to get to work on pretty quick.
Now, that's something that a really good friend of mine who is no longer with the station, Mitch Lilly, had always wanted to do. Couldn't get anybody to
That's
to
where
back
the
him
idea
up on
came
that.
from. Chris and I worked a lot with Mitch. And Mitch was like, we want to do a preseason basketball special because I feel like that's as good of coverage we do for that as we do for football. And it's even more of a miracle we pull it off because there's more games. But, yeah, we're going to try to do that this year and get that world and get that sponsored and get that sold. And,
that's great.
We're trying to look at ways. You got to make yourself worthwhile. Look at ways to make money, and that's another way to make money. And we've really just now started to do that with, we've got the Swedish Play of the Week, which is sponsored. We've got the we're starting to break up FFN a little bit to where it's sponsored in different segments. Now, of course, the main sponsor is going to remain intact, but, you know.
The difference between basketball is you've got Tuesday and Friday.
Tuesday, Friday, Saturdays, doubleheaders with the men and women.
Yeah.
And those are tough Saturdays for a guy like me when you get, you know, you're at the convo all day.
And not only ASU for you guys to cover, but you've also got CRC, and you've got Williams Baptist, and you've got Lyon College.
Yeah.
And you are able to, at some point during the course of the season, get to all these different basketball-playing colleges.
You know, Lyon sometimes gets left out. But they're going to actually be coming to Williams this year because they've moved into that American Midwest
Conference. They're playing
Conference.
a home and home. And they'll play one at Lyon and one at Williams.
See, they actually are moving into that same conference, so they'll be coming to town from now on.
And I think CRC, I think they have been, and I don't know how close they are, but have been investigating getting into that same conference.
You would think, because see, the problem with the American Midwest Conference is that the teams are from Illinois, St. Louis, and so Williams was having to travel. I mean, just hundreds of miles to get to their games, and if they can get CRC, and I'm sure that Williams has probably been on the phone with CRC going, hey, why don't you get this conference, man, to cut our travel down a little bit.
CRC already plays a home and home every year with Williams, and I think they play at least one game a year with Lyon. So, I mean, that'd be tremendous for their budget as far as travel is concerned.
Well,
You're right.
You went from basically, you know, having souped-up high school teams to teams that have competed now in this conference.
I'm going to tell you right now, at CRC, that can be directly attributed to Coach Perkins.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has done a ton of it. I actually talked to him this offseason when they got their schedule done, and he has really built that program up. They're playing 2 Division I teams
They play Division
I.
The first time, I'm going to tell you right now, and Clifton was there. In fact, it was the first game we ever broadcast on your primetime sports. CRC traveled to Tennessee Tech. And it was the first time in history that CRC had ever played a Division I school in the history of their existence. And we were there and brought that game live, courtside, on your primetime sports radio.
It was good.
And they're playing them again this year.
Yeah, they're. I think they played Tennessee Martin this year. I think is one of the teams that they play.
And there's some Division I. There's some Division II schools they're playing as well.
Yeah.
Oh, who was it? I just saw. Oh, okay. University of Arkansas Monticello, Division II team. They're going to go down there and play them.
Yeah.
They're just playing up. And most of the time they get beaten in those games.
Well,
but it makes them stronger for when they play the teams that are equal to them in size.
That's how you make money for your program. That's how you get your program recognized, and that's what it's all about. That's why Arkansas State goes to Oregon. They go to Nebraska. It's on a different level, but it's the same principle.
No, you're absolutely
It's all the same principle.
For the first time ever, CRC, although there's not much on it, has a team page on ESPN's website.
Oh, really?
Yes, because they're playing Division I schools.
So whoever
they
end up being on there.
They end up having their own page by default.
There you go.
So you can do a search. There's not much on the page, but you can do a search and find CRC's page on ESPN's website.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
There you go.
High school basketball, though. We talked a lot about college basketball, but literally 2 weeks from now, the non-football playing schools are going to hit the court.
Yes.
We're talking about Marmaduke and CRA and Ridgefield Christian and Wiener and Rector and just a handful. I mean, there's far more basketball schools in Northeast Arkansas. There are, at last count, over 80 schools within the Region 8 coverage area, and almost half of those don't play football.
No.
They only play basketball and baseball and sports like that.
Yeah.
So you guys, there's going to be schools that are going to start calling you with scores within 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's our chance to get those smaller schools in. I mean, Sloan Hendricks, those schools.
Exactly.
That's the one that always stands out to me. It's a school that some people don't even know exists.
And it's smack dab in the middle of Lawrence County.
Yeah.
And it's a culmination of several different schools over the years that have consolidated together.
Yeah.
And they still only play basketball.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that I really do, I love getting to see some of these schools that don't get much recognition come together around a basketball court. CRA does that. And, they've got several other sports that they do, but they don't have football. And so this time of year means nothing to them, but come basketball season, that is their time.
Now, CRA does have volleyball. That's their fall sport over there, and
they
are a
do,
powerhouse.
And they are compete well. I've seen them several times already this season. I think I saw them at Bay. It was the last time I saw them, and they just keep on going.
And that's another surprise, that a school as small as Bay has a volleyball team.
Yeah, and they come out there, and they've all got several players. CRA and Bay both have, and Bay's pretty good as well.
Are they?
So you look at those teams, and it's, like you said, it's almost surprising that they can put that many girls on the court, but They do it, and that's the thing about when you start up basketball season. You get to see these teams. You get to go to some of the smaller schools, but then you've still got the big schools that will entertain you to no end. You've got the Greene County Techs, who I believe are en route to have a good season this year. I think it's their time. I think you've got Jonesboro, who's always good. They're always competitive. They're fun to watch. Well-coached teams. You know, you've got all these little rivalries again. You know, the Paragould Tech rivalry comes back. Jonesboro plays the Jonesboro schools. You've got Valley View, Westside, all this stuff. And Valley View, Westside basketball is a crazy game to go to.
Oh, yeah. And it is in volleyball, too.
Yeah,
oh, my gosh.
I got to go out there for the first time the other day, and I was so shocked that the gym
They almost filled the gym
full.
up. Yeah.
I mean, it was full. And
between those two schools, you've got, like, umpteen state championships. One or the other of them wins it nearly every year. So they've got a tremendous volleyball tradition at Valley View and Westside.
Yep.
And they battle it out every year.
Yep.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take an extended break right now. We're going to take a 5-minute break. And we've got another guest coming in. I don't know who's coming in there. Oh, it's Coach McMillon. He isn't here yet, but if he hasn't gotten back by the time we come back from the break, we'll keep you around for a little while
Sounds
longer.
good to me, man.
All right, we'll take a break and be right back on YourPrimetimeSports.com. And welcome back to YourPrimetimeSports.com. That thing cuts off. I got to fix that commercial. It says .com. So you look surprised when that happened. That's what that is. I got to fix that one. So we're still here with Blake Wynne, Greene County Tech graduate, ASU student. You still at ASU? You still going to school while you're working?
I have a little bit more to go. We're almost to the finish line. So.
And then, of course, full-time while you're working, and while you're going to school, full-time at ASU. Man, that's got to be tough.
I tell everybody I work miracles every week that people don't even see to get to everything I need to get to. And my goal, I never say no to work because of school, and I never say no to school because of work. So, it's...
Well, it's worked for you so far. When's your projected graduation date?
Hopefully next December. So
next December. So you're just a little over a year away.
I said I'm a junior and a half.
Junior and a half.
I'm not ready to proclaim myself a senior just yet.
Well, you're almost there. You're way further than I ever got, and you got to keep going, man.
It's a lot of people go, man, you got the experience, you got this, you already. I said, but there's something about having that on a piece of paper that says I finished this. That gets, and now it's really, really tough to go to these bigger markets without a degree. They just don't want you. I mean, so it's something I've got to do, and it's hard sometimes.
Tell me about it.
It's hard sometimes when you go into a class that's going to teach me how to edit. I've been editing for 6 years.
Do you ever do any stuff with KASU? Will KAIT let you do stuff with KASU?
They're pretty cool about it. But KASU's really not an open. They've kind of got it to where it's a private radio station. And they do that. They do the classical, the public radio thing. So really, it's.
What about ASU TV? Do you ever do any stuff with those guys?
I have done some stuff with them. I'm not in the area of the radio television department that works with ASU TV. I'm the new media department because I figured I'd get some other kind of experience while I was there. It's more of an internet-based thing. I felt like that's where it's going. You guys are a clear example of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, all right. Well, there goes Clifton. He's going to go
he's out, man.
Take basketball pictures for our upcoming edition of the Your Primetime Sports Magazine basketball edition.
He's a busy dude, too.
He's real busy.
Yeah.
He does this, and he's been putting the magazine together, and he's got an outside job
he
besides
runs
that.
The photography thing, and he's really, really good at it.
And he sells food.
So, does he sell food?
He works for Tankersley Foods and has several school accounts and supplies them with the food that all those kids eat, which is a scary thing, actually, when, your food's coming from Clifton, Garmrath.
What's scary is the health nut thing that all the schools are, I guess it's the government's on that.
You can blame that on, what was this, Jamie, no, that's not his name. What's the guy's name that's from England who came on and said all the school food is bad, blah, blah, blah. What is that guy's name? He was on ABC. It's your station, man. You should know this stuff.
Does that mean I have to watch ABC?
Oh, well,
that's not an excuse.
His name has gone out of my head, but he went on TV and said, the school's feeding us garbage.
And the kids aren't eating it because it's bad.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Quit eating the food.
We're going to get sued. We got to stop talking right now about that.
Okay. The government, they can't.
Let's talk very briefly about ASU football. They're actually not performing quite as expected this year. They were expected to me, repeat as Sun Belt Conference champions, and now that they've got a conference loss, that's in a little bit of jeopardy.
Well, once I saw what some of these other teams in the conference had, that became a little bit of in question for me. I think in a lot of people's minds, they were the team to repeat. They still had Ryan Applin coming back. They had,
almost everybody coming back.
Taylor Stockamer, but what happened? Taylor Stockamer goes down in game 1. Okay, so you miss him all the way up to the start of the Western Kentucky game, and he was like half staff at the Western Kentucky game. Then you started to see ULM might actually be good. They were not just a complete fluke. Okay,
well,
they played Auburn tough. They beat Arkansas. But they didn't stop there.
They went into overtime with 2 SEC schools in a row.
And then they should have beat Baylor. They didn't, but they should have beat Baylor. The middle goes to Georgia Tech, and they not just beat Georgia Tech. They hammered Georgia Tech
49-28, I believe the score of that one was.
So they do that, and then I'm starting to see this come around. Louisiana Lafayette's going to be good. Western Kentucky's going to be good. And so all of a sudden, it looks like a meat grinder in the Sun Belt.
We were making jokes after the Auburn game with ULM that they should be watching their mailbox for an SEC invitation because they're going to play that way against SEC teams week in and week out. That's what every mid-major is looking for.
Well, I started to think, ASU beat Texas A&M a few years ago, and then they came into conference and they sputtered. Mm-hmm. And I wondered if that wasn't what was going to happen with ULM, but they've come in and they're hitting hard in the Sun Belt Conference. So really, once I started to see the Sun Belt field, I did not think it was a sure thing for a Sun Belt repeat. But they played Florida International on the road and looked as good as they have looked all season long.
ASU still has to play ULM. See, they've already lost to Western. They've already lost to Western Kentucky, and they still got ULM on the schedule, and they still got ULL, which is always tough on the schedule.
Well,
it's not going to be a walk for ASU.
Here's what I'm worried about. Arkansas State's going to play 3 games in 14 days later on.
Oh my!
One of those is on the road at Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah,
I'm not as much worried about that ULM game as I'm worried about the Lafayette on the road, Troy on the road.
Right in the middle of that.
In the middle of the season, right in the middle of that Sun Belt Conference meat grinder.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, they'll be bowl eligible, and if they're bowl eligible, they will go back to the GoDaddy.com bowl.
This is what I was talking about earlier. I don't know if we talked about this on the air or not. I was talking about this with somebody. Western Kentucky, I think it was Western Kentucky last year, 7-5.
Yeah.
Bowl eligible. Nobody called them.
Because they didn't have good attendance at their stadium.
I'm afraid. Well, ASU does kind of have good attendance, so maybe they'll get a call anyway.
Here's the deal. If ASU's bowl eligible, they'll go to the GoDaddy.com bowl because of the crowd they brought to Mobile last year.
They brought a ton of people last year.
And they've proven that if you invite us to a bowl, we will bring people to come watch. And so if let's say Western Kentucky doesn't win the Sun Belt Conference Championship, and it's like down to Western Kentucky and Arkansas State.
I think there's 4 or 5 different teams legitimately that have a shot.
If you look at it, and all of it's about money when it comes to the bowls. Arkansas State, if they can be bowl eligible, will get into the GoDaddy.com bowl. Again, it won't be the New Orleans Bowl because ULL or ULM1 will be bowl eligible, and they'll go to the New Orleans Bowl just because they're from New Orleans.
Well, and technically ASU, in theory, should have went to the New Orleans Bowl last year. That is designated for the Sun Belt champion. But they said, you know what, let's try something different, and that's what they did.
They did, and it was Arkansas State's choice. If they would have wanted to go to the New Orleans Bowl, the contract would have been offered to them.
And plus, they've been there before.
But I think they looked at it, and I think the New Orleans Bowl wasn't all that interested. I think they were like, we'll take ULL.
They would rather have a Louisiana team
and I think that I think that Dean Lee and Hugh Freeze looked at it last year and said, hey, we can go down here to Mobile. It's a different setting. We'll get people to travel. I think that they'll draw a big crowd, and that was a good choice, even though they ran into some turmoil before the bowl game and they lost the bowl game. But nonetheless, I mean, I think everybody knew by the end of the season that Arkansas State had done something great.
Oh, my gosh. The 10-2 season is, or was it 10-3? What did it end up being?
It was 10-3.
10-3. It's phenomenal, especially for ASU.
Well, and I think the thing people forget about this team this year, this is their first year in the Gus Malzahn offense. That was their second year in the Hugh Freeze offense last year. Because he had been the
take him a while.
And Ryan Applin may not be the guy for the Gus Malzahn offense. And he's
a senior.
He's the greatest player to walk through the football doors of Arkansas State at quarterback. No doubt about it.
Yep.
But he's trying to take in this offense as well, and it's designed more for a Freddie Knighton. Freddie Knighton, not on the same scale, but a lot like a Cam Newton. Can run around in the backfield, can run the option really well, which Applin can do, but I think Knighton is probably the guy Malzahn's got his eyes on, is to be the future quarterback.
You got to move on, and Applin's a senior, so you're going to have to do something.
But what I saw at the Florida International game, Malzahn's like, okay, we'll worry about this whole scheme I've got next year. Let's cut Ryan Applin loose, which is what Hugh Freeze did. all season last year, and Ryan Applin's a guy that can make things happen.
Yeah. How do you like the new? Well, this will be the last thing we talk about. But how do you like the new AD at?
I think it's great. I think he's an Arkansas State guy. I think he's played sports. I think he's been in the Sun Belt with Florida Atlantic and built that program from the ground up.
And played at ASU as a player.
Played at ASU. So and then he's been at a big program, so he knows what it takes to be here, and he knows what it takes to be here. He knows what it takes to scrounge around the bottom for what's left. He knows what it takes.
Came from a Big 12 school. Came from Kansas.
And he's looked down at everybody, and he's looked up at everybody, and he's got a good perspective on it. I think Terry Mahajer will be a fantastic AD.
Folks, remember what he said. That's how you pronounce his name. Mahajer. It looks really funky, but
you can get fancy with it if you want to. And at some point, some announcer somewhere will get fancy with it. It'll be Mahahir or something like that. But it's Mahajer. Terry Mahajer. We're in Arkansas. He's an Arkansan. Well, he's not an Arkansan, but he's been
more
around.
or less. We're
going to claim him.
Yeah.
So.
This is Blake Guinn, Region 8 Sports. Thanks for coming in, man.
Hey, no problem.
I appreciate you. We're going to take an extended break, and we will be back with Coach Royce McMillon, the Crowley's Ridge Academy Falcons, on YourPrimetimeSports.com. Welcome back to YourPrimetimeSports.com. I'm Dave Grimm. Clifton has left us for the day. He's going to take photographs at Paragould High School, and I am now sitting alongside the Crowley's Ridge Academy head boys basketball coach, Royce McMillon. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, good to be here, Dave.
First time for you to be on with us on internet television now.
Yes,
you were on a couple times on internet radio last year.
I was. I wish you would have let me know about that a little bit sooner. I might have shaved this morning.
Oh, well, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I tell you what, though, the folks over at CRA have been pumping it. They put it on their Facebook. They put it on their Twitter. They're not playing around. You're not even on Twitter, are you? Your brother is.
No, yeah, he is. He is. And my assistant, Caleb Livingston, he's got us a Twitter account, and he does that stuff. I'm just not big on that, David, and maybe I need to we
got to get you a Twitter.
We got to get updated here.
You are about to start playing basketball already. Folks that don't know, most folks do know that the smaller schools will start playing basketball while football is still going on at the bigger schools, and that's exactly the case here.
Absolutely. Next week we have our jamboree.
Wow.
We got Marmaduke coming to town in Riverside. It's going to be at our place. Awfully exciting times.
Now, you had a fairly decent season last year.
We did.
Go ahead. Yeah, well, I can't remember what the record was.
Well, we were 16-17. We went on a roll but right after Christmas, a 10-game winning streak.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
And we might have got a little too confident. Had 6 seniors that we lost. But had that 10-game winning streak, and then Sloan Hendricks come to town, and we went to. Well, you were there at Wiener.
I was at the Wiener game. That's right.
That was the 11th game, and we come into that game thinking that, hey, we beat them pretty good at our place. Let's just have a good time. And
didn't work out that
Wiener
they came out fired
beat
up.
us, and then Sloan Hendricks come to town the next game, and Sloan Hendricks had just won a couple games, and they beat us, and it just kind of fell apart a little bit.
Well, we had you for a couple of games. I'm glad you brought that up. We had on your Primetime Sports Radio last year, we had CRA a couple of games. We had them at Wiener. We had them at Piggott last year. We had two CRA dates last year. Of course, we had the girls also in that. We'll touch on this real quick. You don't have a girls team at CRA this year, a senior high girls team.
No, we have a junior high. There's several freshmen this year, and they talked about it in a board meeting, and they just decided let's go ahead and let them play in junior high and not move up some of those girls. You really can't please everyone in that situation, but they decided to do that, and next year we hope to have both junior high and senior high.
Okay, so last year when we were at those two dates, Wiener and Piggott, we had the girls on too. This year, obviously, we won't be able to do that,
right.
But we do have 2 broadcast dates for the CRA Falcons this year. One of those, this is unofficial, but we're going to be making it official very soon. Tuesday, December 4th, CRA travels to Black Rock. And Tuesday, December 18th, CRA travels to Maynard. Both of those conference games for you.
Yes.
And both of those road games for you. So the folks back here in Paragould who can't or won't make the road trip with you can watch it online. And I say watch, folks. You're watching me now, so you understand. This is TV now, no longer radio.
That's
great.
Like
they used to be able to just listen to it. They can watch the ball games, and we'll have those 2 games for you guys this year.
That's great. I tell you, the 2 games you came and helped us with last year, we did not win.
Yeah,
we're
so
going to change that. We're going to
change
that.
I'm going to say this. Those were your primetime sports radio games, okay? So on radio, you're 0-2.
Yes.
Okay? This is TV now. We can start a new streak. You might be 2-0. Yeah, okay.
We did beat the Black Rock and Maynard last year, but I tell you what, it's a new year. They're going to be coming out tough, but we're going to try our best.
Now, you lost 6 seniors. We were talking about that just a second ago. So what is your team? I mean, you had 5 senior starters, is that correct, last year?
No, 3 of those
seniors
were big-time players. One of those come off the bench, and another one was just a good bench player for us, good leader. But we played 4 of those, 5 out of the 6 seniors a lot. I tell you what, 3 of them were all-conference. We had a couple all-region, and we had an all-state player. So,
do you have some underclassmen that are stepping up to replace the skills of the people that you lost?
We hope so. We could have a couple sophomores starting. Last year's junior high team was really talented. They just lost 4 or 5 games. We have 2 returning seniors, but I tell you what, my second year with me and Coach Caleb, and I just feel that they're playing hard for us. They're ready to play. They're ready for next week, but they practice hard. They're in there taking charges during practice. What kid wants to take charges during practice?
Yeah, during practice, I know. You're going to have a headache when you go to class after
well,
that.
Last year, one of our little sophomores, he did get a concussion in practice.
Wow.
But they play really hard. I'm hoping that's going to transfer over into the games and into some big-time wins.
So you're talking about the Jamboree, but what is your first official game that will count in the books?
It's going to be against Marmaduke. We had a little scheduling conflict. We're going to have to move that up a couple days. It's going to be Marmaduke. It's going to be the 19th of October.
What day of the week does that fall on?
At our place. I believe
that's a Friday.
Friday,
That's
yes.
a Friday night. And folks, Greene County Tech will be playing at Beebe in football that night. So if you don't want to make the drive to Beebe, it's going to be one heck of a basketball game going on between CRA and Marmaduke.
It will be at home. It was going to be the 23rd. The 18th, we have our maroon and white game, and then the next night we're going to have to play Marmaduke.
So you are less than 2 weeks away. 2 weeks from last night is your first official basketball game of the season. It just doesn't seem like that's right, man.
It sure doesn't.
Flew right up on us. Let's very briefly go over the teams in the 3A, 3 single A conference. That's your conference, right? The 3A.
Yes.
Is it 3A South or just 3A? I can't remember now. They changed it so many times.
I know it.
It used to be the 3 single A South Conference. I think it's just called the 3 single A now. I think they've removed the word South. But there's 5 teams in that conference. Black Rock is 1, Maynard is 1, Wiener is 1.
Maynard's new.
Maynard dropped down.
We don't like to talk about Bay, but Bay is
tough.
in there.
Ooh, and Armorel is one of those.
And then us.
And then you guys. So that's a tough athletic conference.
It really is. I would say that Bay is still probably the team to beat. But we're going to do it.
Oh, Ridgefield Christian, they're in there too.
That's right.
We missed them. There's a lot of single A schools around here that people forget about, overlook, or don't even know about. And Ridgefield Christian's one that gets overlooked a lot.
They've got a couple talented seniors this year that are going to do some things, but we're excited. We're hoping to get first or second. Hopefully first.
And in your conference, and in these bigger conferences, they take the top 4 from the region and go to state. They do that in single A too. Is that correct?
They do.
Do they take the top 2 from your conference to go to the regional? Is that 2 or 3?
I can't
They change
remember.
it so often, and
it may be
changes from year to year almost.
It may be the top 4.
Top 4 from your conference would go to the regional.
Yes, and then once you lose, you're 3. We got the opportunity to go to the first round of regionals and got put out. So
well, we're looking way far ahead. We're looking at February here. We haven't even started game 1. But if you want to see them take the 4 for the first time, talk about the Jamboree real quick.
Well, it is Riverside, Buster Campbell, and then Coach
He's
Richie
still there?
from Marmaduke. He is.
I'm kidding. I know he's still there.
He's
been there forever.
I was a player when he was a coach over there.
Wow.
That was 20 years ago. But going to be exciting. We're hoping for a good crowd, and we're going to play junior high boys as well. So their teams will come over, and we're going to play a couple quarters of each. So it's going to be a full night. We'll start about 4:30.
On what date?
That is the 11th.
That is this coming Thursday. The Jamboree CRA will take part over in Lake City.
No,
Or are you going to do this in Caraway?
No, this is at CRA.
Riverside's coming here.
And
I must have
Marmaduke.
missed that. I'm not paying attention. So Riverside and Marmaduke are going to come Jamboree with you at CRA.
Yes.
And then you're going to turn around and play Marmaduke a week later for your first game of the season.
Yep.
Okay,
That's exactly right.
Make sure you get a camera on Marmaduke and watch what they're doing so you'll be ready for them.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, okay.
We will.
This is Coach Royce McMillon. Thanks for coming in. We want to have you back several times.
I hope so.
During the course of the season to talk about how things are going with the Falcons.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to be talking to James Foster. If anything you ever wanted to know about deer hunting or about deer themselves, you're going to find out next with James Foster from the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission on YourPrimetimeSports.com. Welcome back to YourPrimetimeSports.com. We're in our final segment of today's show, Double G Sports Talk Saturday. Clifton was here earlier. He has gone to do other things now, so you're stuck with me. I'm Dave Grimm. And alongside me right now here on Double G is from the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. This is James Foster. He is their deer guy in this area of the state. Anything you want to know about what the deer population, the deer regulations for deer hunting, where you can go to deer hunt as far as the wildlife management areas are concerned, anything that has to do with a deer in Northeast Arkansas, this is the guy. Thanks for joining us.
Well, I'm glad you have me here, and I just want to welcome everybody that's watching, and hopefully we'll give them some information they need and would want on the deer hunting this season.
And what people, of course, the people that are watching right now know this, but you can let people know this as well. This broadcast is actually archived to where they can watch it online anytime they want to, beginning probably around tomorrow or something, that people can watch this online. So they'll be able to see it anytime and get whatever information they need that you have shared with us today. And there's lots to share. You've got archery season is already underway. Muzzle loading season is about to start. If it hasn't already, I'm not sure.
No, sir, it hadn't started yet. Archery season started for the first time September 15th this year. From now, the next year, and from then on, it's going to be the fourth Saturday in September, so that it'll always start on a Saturday. So after this year, it's going to go back to a first Saturday and fourth Saturday in September.
Okay, and then muzzle loading season we're right up on that. I believe that starts very soon.
Well, actually, Zone 4 and 5 does not have a muzzleloader season.
Is that what we're in?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
we're
wow,
in
I
Zone
didn't know
4
that.
and 5. They have an antlered. The antlerless only modern gun season is not in Zones 4 or 5 either. It's in most zones of the state.
So there won't be a doe season here?
They can kill a doe during regular season, the archery season, or a modern gun season.
I see what you mean.
The modern gun season is November 10th and 11th and December 26th and 28th for Zone 4, and November 10th and 11th, November 17th and 18th, and December 26th and 28th in the Zone 5.
Okay. Greene County itself sits in which one of those zones?
Well, the Zone 5 is the ridge, Crowley's Ridge.
I see.
Zone 4 is outside the ridge in the Delta.
I see. Okay, see, I did not know that. So you're telling me that there's only 3 days of modern-day deer hunting total for the entire season for Zone 4?
Zone 4, there is November 10th and 11th and December 26th and 28th. Through 28th.
5 days
5
total.
days.
And that's it. If people want to do more deer hunting than that, they're going to have to travel to a different area of the state.
Well, they can use archery. So archery.
Right, but for modern gun, 5 days, that's it.
That's correct.
Well, I did
yes,
not
sir.
know that. That's something I did not know. So, see, where I'm from, which is southwest Arkansas, it's like a month long or whatever for deer season,
right.
for gun season.
And the reason for that is the population.
Right.
There's a lot more deer south of Arkansas than there is here. The quality of the bucks is better in the Delta and on the ridge than there is in South Arkansas, but there's fewer deer.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the current estimated deer population for our area of the state, because we've just come from a major drought, and that has affected the population.
Well, actually, the population is stable. now, and it's probably increasing a little bit. So,
but did the drought have any effect? Did we see any deer dying off because of the drought?
Not really. We didn't see any deer. Now, what we did see was a moderate increase in EHD, hemorrhagic disease, and that occurs when you have a drought during late summer, September, August and September, when you will start finding the deer dead, and they'll usually be around a water source. And the reason it increases in drought is because the deers can have to go to the same water sources, so it concentrates the animals.
Now,
and so
is this disease spread from deer to deer, or they only get it from the water source?
It's deer to deer.
Deer to deer.
Yes. And so what it does is they hemorrhage inside, and some die from it. Most of them don't die from it, but they'll have signs. And if a hunter kills a deer, like when the hooves are sloughing off and got longer hooves than normal, that's a sign that it had a EHD, but it didn't die from it.
I see. So it's not necessarily a fatal disease to the deer, but it can kill them.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Now, is there something that Arkansas Game and Fish does, or any action they can take to combat the disease?
There's really nothing you can do to combat the disease. What hunters and private landowners could do to help offset that is, if they're feeding corn or feeding stuff, is to spread it out to where the deers aren't touching nose to nose in the same pile. And that also keeps the corn from developing what we call aflatoxins, and that is real detrimental to the turkey population. It's not as bad as the deer getting aflatoxins, and that happens when corn and stuff staying together, and it starts developing mold and stuff in it. So that's the thing that we encourage hunters when they're feeding deer or people feeding the corn and stuff, that they only feed enough for like a week or a couple of days to a week, and then to spread it out, not to pile it in one pile. Now,
I know you're a deer guy. In fact, you're not this. This is not something that it's just hobby for you or whatever. You actually, this is what your degree is in. This is your career. You got a Bachelor of Science in wildlife management.
Yes, sir.
And so deer is your thing, but do you handle any other species? Do you handle turkey? Do you handle squirrel or anything else like that?
We give recommendations on any of the wildlife species and even some of the non-game species that's in the area. We try to promote habitat management for quail and songbirds and stuff, and migratory birds coming through. So we work with waterfowl and deer and turkey.
So you don't just, it's not just deer that you spread yourself out a little bit with the Game and Fish Commission.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you this. On a personal level, have you ever gotten to do a show like this? Because I know, what's his name, Steve
Wilson.
Wilson, you see him everywhere. He's the face of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. Literally everywhere. He's not in our area of the state, but if you watch any of the Little Rock stations and they do anything at all that has to do with the game and fish, it's Steve Wilson. That's who. Wild Man Steve Wilson.
Right.
Do you get to do this kind of thing very often? Have you done this stuff?
This is my first TV. And
really?
Actually, first radio show. I had never done one of those, so this is the first one.
Okay, we'll have to tell Steve he's got some competition up in northeast Arkansas. Let's talk about, there's some wildlife management area changes this year, and there's some changes that you really want to get the public aware of. In fact, we were talking about other ways to get them aware of that. We'll go into that, me and you, off camera later on, but it's something that you really want to get out there.
Right, and there was 16 WMAs across the state that they're going to try and do some intensive deer management, which is going to be population management to get the population to the carrying capacity of what that WMA can hold, and do really good quality management. And that's going to get the doe-to-buck ratio down to a 2-to-1 or even to a 1-to-1 buck-to-doe ratio. So they're wanting the public on these. There's 16 of these areas, and 2 of them in northeast Arkansas.
2 of them are up here. One of them is Scatter Creek, is that right?
It is Shirey Bay Rainy Break.
Shirey Bay.
And Dave Donaldson Black River.
What am I thinking about Scatter? I thought Scatter Creek was a wildlife management.
It is, but it's not one of the Sweet 16.
Not for the Sweet. So the Sweet 16 is a designated just those 16 for this program.
Right. Yes, sir. And if a hunter's going to be any hunter, squirrel hunter, trapper, duck hunter, whatever, is hunting on the area, they have to get a permit to fill out. And it's a free permit, and it's online, or you can go to one of our regional offices. The Northeast Regional Office is in Jonesboro, right up on the hill past the Nature Center.
Is that the only place you can get it, or can you go to, say, like another place where you can buy a hunter's license, like Walmart or a bait shop or something like that? Can you get those there as well, or do you have to go to Game and Fish?
You have to go to Game and Fish. You can't get them at just any license area.
I got you.
But you can go to any regional area, regional office. You can go to agfc.com and get it online, or you can call Little Rock, or you can actually call. Yes, it's free.
Totally free to get this permit to hunt at a WMA, one of the Sweet 16 WMAs. Let me ask you this. The program that these Sweet 16 are in, are the modern gun deer dates different in those WMAs than they would be in the zone that surrounds them?
There's actually some permit hunts. They have to have a permit hunt to hunt in those WMAs.
Right.
And that's not just the Sweet 16. There's several WMAs across the state that require permits. So you need to go to our guidebook to see which one requires permit. The permits are in June and July that they have to apply for the permit so that they would know about getting these. And there's still some left on some areas.
But yeah, it's not too late to get some of these permits, especially for the Sweet 16.
Well, I don't know if they've been filled or not.
Could have been filled moments ago while we were on the air. We don't know.
So just call the regional office and see if there's any permits left for these areas.
And if you want to see the areas, the guidebook is the key. And they do have that at Walmart. When you go in and buy your hunting license, they have a stack of those things sitting on the counter. You got to have that thing so you'll know what you're looking for as far as not only the WMAs but all the hunters' regulations this year. What kind of regulations have changed at all as far as the rules or the number of deer that you can tag this year and stuff like that?
Well, we didn't really have any that changed except the Sweet 16 on those areas. And then as far as Missouri and Texas was added to that importation list.
And I saw that on my notes, and I don't know what that means. Explain to me and the people who also don't know what that means, what that is.
Well, they found deer that had developed chronic wasting disease in these areas. I think it was a mule deer in Texas and a white-tailed deer in Missouri.
Wow.
And so what that does, it's a brain disease, and it
is it sort of like mad cow, only in deer?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't have any idea.
Really bad if the deer herds get it, and so we're really proactive in doing that and keeping any deer that to be imported in the state. And if they go to another state, one of those states, it's listed, and you can get that in the guidebook also, because there's more than just Texas and Missouri. I think there was 13 states that are listed.
If you kill a deer in one of these states that's under the quarantine, you are not allowed to bring that deer back into the state. Is that correct?
You can bring the meat of the deer. You cannot bring the bones.
I see.
If they kill a trophy buck, they would need to get the taxidermist to clean the skull real good. And so they can still bring it in, but it has to be, there's special restrictions on doing that.
And those restrictions are all listed in this year's guidebook?
Yes.
Okay,
yep.
Good. Okay, good. Now, there were some other things that we wanted to go over with you while we had you. I'll tell you what, we're going to take our break with you right now. We've still got a little ways to go, but we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll have more with James Foster from Arkansas Game and Fish on YourPrimetimeSports.com. And welcome back to YourPrimetimeSports.com. We are in our final segment of today's show on Double G Sports Talk Saturday. Live from Batten's Donuts and Bakery, as we always are, here in the Paragould Plaza on what's turning out to be a pretty decent day. It's awfully chilly, but it's really nice outside. High of 58 today, according to our good buddy Ryan Vaughn over at KAIT. And it's going to be a nice day. We're talking to somebody who spends his time mostly outdoors because he's with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. James Foster, who's been going over deer regulations with us for this year's deer season, among other things. And we still got a lot to go over. There's a youth hunt this year that you were telling me about.
Well, it always occurs every year, and it just gives a weekend or 2 weekends for youth only to hunt so that their dads or grandpas can take them hunting. This year, the youth modern gun hunts in Zone 4 and 5 is November 3rd and 4th, and January 5th and 6th.
Does that coincide? That doesn't coincide with the modern gun hunt dates that you gave me a while ago. These are different dates. Is that correct?
That's correct. No.
Now, tell me about the regulations on that. If I take a kid hunting, and of course if they're under 16, they don't even have to have a hunting license. Is that correct?
That's correct.
If I take a kid hunting, A, do I have to have a hunting license even if I don't have a gun?
Yes.
If I take a kid hunting. And B, am I allowed to shoot a deer while I'm out there with him, or can he only be the one that shoots the deer?
He's the only one that can carry a weapon to be able to shoot.
Okay.
Because we want it to be just for the youth, so that the dad or grandpa or whoever friend that's taking them is concentrating on the youth. So we wanted a good experience for the youth.
So the adult cannot be the one shooting the deer, but the adult at the same time must have a hunting license in order to take the child.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, and do you have a lot of participation in that program?
Yes, we do, and it's people when we have our public meetings and stuff that the adults are really interested in having those special hunts for the youth, and sometimes it gets youth out that don't normally get to hunt and stuff.
But that doesn't preclude the youth from hunting on the other deer dates as well, the normal modern gun deer dates.
That's correct. They can hunt any time the season is in.
So if you're a kid, you get more deer hunting than the grown-ups do. So you're lucky. 5 days, to me, that seems like an awfully low number. But again, I'm from South Arkansas, and we're used to having a month-long deer season down there, or 2-week or 3-week deer season down there. I've only lived up here for 10 years, and I guess I wasn't aware that the deer season up here for modern gun is so much shorter than it is. Has it been that way for a while?
Yes, sir, it has. And also, for the modern gun hunt, if you haven't hunted up here much, in Zone 4 and 5, it's a slug only or muzzleloader during modern gun.
During modern gun, you can't use double-lock buck in a 12-gauge shotgun? That's illegal up here.
Right.
But not in South Arkansas.
I'm not sure about that.
Well,
I would check the regulations.
Yeah, I would too if I were you. And it's been years, but if I remember correctly, double-lock buck was okay in South Arkansas. I didn't realize that it wasn't here.
Well, on the muzzleloader, we will check that. But
in a shotgun, you got to have a slug.
Right. And you can't use a rifle with a centerfire cartridge like a 270 or 243.
It has to be rim-fired.
You cannot. It has to be a slug or a muzzleloader.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
For modern gun.
I see what you're saying. For modern gun, and
it's a single projectile.
The caliber of the shotgun can go down as low as .410.
Right.
And anything lower than that, of course, there's not really many shotguns lower than a .410, but it has to be a slug.
Right.
Now, are there any? This is just me being curious now. I don't think anybody does this, but are there any handguns that are legal to deer hunt with in this area?
I'm not sure about that.
It seems like I remember, again, this has been years ago, it seems like I remember in the area I'm from originally that if you had a .44 or bigger, you could deer hunt with that thing down in South Arkansas.
Yes.
I don't know if that's legal here. The reg book that we're talking about, the regulation book, will have all that information in it. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just thinking out loud here, just out of my own curiosity.
Well, if anybody has any questions, they can call our enforcement office at Jonesboro, the regional office, or in Little Rock. They can get any enforcement questions like that. I deal more mainly with the habitat and that kind of stuff, and not the enforcement of the laws.
Sure, right. And you deal in deer biology as well. That's why you know so much about the diseases that afflict the deer in this area.
Right.
Now, the mast production. You wanted to go over that with me. I know very little, if anything, at all about that.
Well, this year we're starting a mass survey, and this is going to be statewide. And what we do is collect points, and they're 250 yards apart. And we see the red oak, white oak, beech, hickory, pecan, and persimmon species at that point. And we have a form that we fill out, whether it's low, moderate, good, excellent, mass crop, and then what the drought conditions did to the oak trees, how they stressed them. And how you tell the drought conditions on them is if they don't have any leaves at this time of year, and there's no mast, then it was heavily affected by the drought. If they have leaves and they've already dropped their acorns or nuts and stuff, then they had a moderate, they was moderately stressed. If they have real good, if there's single acorns around the branches and the nuts, then there was a low drought stress. But if they have clusters of acorns still on the trees, then it was they didn't have any drought stress at all.
And anybody that deer hunts knows that the key to looking for where the deer are going to hang out is where the acorns are.
Right. And this year across the state, on our surveys that we've done and turned in, it's been a moderate acorn crop. And so the acorns has fell early, so a lot of people is probably not seeing deers at their corn and stuff because the acorns is already on the ground. And so, but what's going to happen is they're going to eat those good acorns up, and then later on in the year, they're going to be hitting the corn hard
Right.
because they're going to be out of the acorns and stuff.
Now, I don't know if we went over this a minute ago or not. What's the tag limit in our area? How many deer can you kill in a season?
In statewide, the bag limit is 6 deer.
Total
Total deer with
Wow.
only 2 bucks allowed. So out of the 6, you can only kill 2 bucks.
So you could kill 4 doe during the course of a year.
Yes.
During the doe periods, which, it's all in the regulation book. We're going back to that again. You got a regulation book. Don't you? I want to hold this up for the camera, and I don't have a cameraman this morning, so instead of zooming, I'm going to do this. There we go. This is the Arkansas, and it hides my ugly face. It works out perfectly. The Arkansas Hunting Guidebook for this season, 2012-2013, that can be found anywhere you can buy a hunting license. You can find one of these.
Yes.
Okay, and it has everything that we've been talking about. Questions that I may not have asked that you want to know will probably be in this book. Again, we were talking about other, turkey season
Right.
will be up soon. I know I didn't tell you we were going to talk about this, but do you have the turkey dates there handy? Or
No, sir.
It's in the book.
Well, it's not in this book. It'll be the turkeys.
Turkey has a separate book.
Turkey has a separate book,
I didn't know that.
and
See, I just
also
learned something.
waterfowl. Waterfowl has a separate
Waterfowl,
book.
and I knew that. Duck season is a animal in and of itself. The duck hunters around here this is the best duck hunting area.
Yes.
From here down to about McGee area down in there is the best duck hunting area in the United States.
Yes, sir.
People flock to this area. You guys know this. I don't have to tell you this. They go over this every year. Look at all the duck hunters coming in, and it's got to be a revenue builder for the Arkansas Game and Fish. The ducks, the people that come and pay the out-of-state duck licenses, that's got to be a huge revenue influx for Game and Fish.
Yes, it is, and any kind of shells that they purchase, waiters and that all that goes. We
the
get
local
partial
economy, yeah.
into the economy.
Well, and again, deer is one thing, but duck is another thing
Yes.
entirely around here.
And I just wanted to go over
Go ahead.
the regulations a little bit on the Zone 4 and 5 because you can't kill 6 deer in Zone 4 or 6 deer in Zone 5.
Really?
That is
But
just
it's statewide. If you can kill a certain number here and then go to another zone and get the rest of it.
right.
Okay.
Zone 4 is 3 deer, and Zone 5 is 3 deer.
Okay.
So, but you could kill your 3 deer in Zone 4, and then go over to Zone 5 and kill 3 deer.
Okay.
So you can
they're
kill
close.
6.
Okay. So you can still kill 6 in this area, but they have to be 3 in Zone 4 and 3 in Zone
Right.
5. And you were talking about this. Zone 5 is Crowley's Ridge.
Yes, sir.
Anything on the ridge is 5, and then surrounding the ridge is Zone 4.
That's correct.
Okay, so you could go up on the ridge, kill you 3, and then be done with the ridge, come down off the ridge, and kill you 3 more.
And also the WMAs are a separate zone. So a WMA within that zone, you could kill. So it's one of those deals.
There's ways to get your 6 without having to
Yes.
go very far.
That's
Is what-
correct.
Yeah, okay. So, again, the WMA permits are free.
Right.
You have to get them from Game and Fish directly. You cannot get them from Walmart or a bait shop or anything like that. You've got to go through Game and Fish. Tell folks how to find the Game and Fish office in Jonesboro.
If you know where the Nature Center is, we just built our regional office there.
The Crowley's Ridge Nature Center, which
Yes.
is over in the Valley View area.
Right. It's on Lawson Road. If you go north of Highway 63, you can go out Stadium Drive on Highway 1, and then go out to R&R Farm Equipment, take a right, which would be
or if you go from the other side, you go to Valley View School and hang a left.
right.
And
That's correct.
It meets in the middle there, and if you haven't been to the Crowley's Ridge Nature Center, oh my gosh, that's one of the best kept secrets of Northeast Arkansas. It is basically a nature museum. Okay, anything you want to know about wildlife or nature or the habitats in our area, you can find out all under one roof in this museum. It's a brilliant place.
Yes.
And it's hands-on. You can go in there and watch, you push buttons and do things, and it's great for kids. In one of my other many careers, when I worked at I worked at a preschool for 2 years, and we took field trips.
Yes.
We took the 4 and 5 year old kids to the nature center and let them have at it. There's all kinds of things to do in there.
Yes, and they have a lot of school programs, and all the teachers have to do is call, and it's free to the public to go in and stuff, so they don't have to pay to get in.
That's right. That's the beauty of this thing. It's a museum that you don't have to pay to go to, and it's right here in our area.
Right.
Yeah. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to go over with you as we're closing in on the end of the show here, and we're going to go over this very briefly, but it's for something for the future. This is not the only thing you do. You have a little sideline thing that you work with. Okay, let's do that real quick before we go to. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And my job title is private land biologist.
That's
so
right.
I assist landowners, and I have 8 counties in the northeast part of the state that I assist landowners on.
What are those counties, real quick?
It is Clay, Greene, Randolph, Craighead, Poinsett, and Mississippi counties.
Okay. And Lawrence.
Lawrence.
And that's 8, I believe. That's 8.
Yes, sir. And what we do is any landowner that has private lands can call us up, and we can give them assistance. And we have 2 programs. One is through that we cooperate with the Arkansas Forestry Commission, and it's for a stewardship program where the landowner has timber from 10 acres up to unlimited. They can call the Forestry Commission and get a forest stewardship application, and a forester would come out there and give them a timber recommendation on their timber, and that if they mark wildlife as first or second that they're trying to provide habitat for, then I will write a wildlife management plan on that property for them.
Wow.
So they'll get a timber plan and a wildlife plan for free.
Wow.
And that way they can know if they need to thin their timber, do prescribed burning, do some other management on their property for that.
Now, what are the benefits to a private landowner of doing that?
Well, it will improve their forest stand for timber production, and also improve their forestry for wildlife habitat. So if a landowner's wanting to draw more deer...
And it's totally free program.
Yes, and both of those are free programs. If they want to draw more deer or hold more deer, they need to improve their habitat to do that.
And you can teach them exactly how to do that.
We give a
That's
management
amazing.
plan. And we also have what we call the Acres for Wildlife program. And what that is we provide native grass season, and it has to be 5 acres or more, up to 20 acres. And we can do special circumstances if they have over 20 acres. But we provide seed and technical advice on how to plant them and stuff. And the native grasses is for quail and turkey mainly, but it would provide cover for the deer and stuff in the summer. So that's another free program.
You reminded me of both of these because I had forgotten that we wanted to talk about those, and it went completely out of my mind. And that's very important because it's a free program, and you can bring deer to your property and have them hang out just by doing what he tells you to do.
Right.
Now, hang on one second. Sorry about that. The other thing that I was about to go into, unless you've got anything else, the other thing that I was about to go into, totally unrelated to game and fish. If you live here in Greene County, you may or may not be familiar with the Greene County Gators swim team. It's they're a local swim team here, not really affiliated with a school per se, but it's like a community swim team.
It's a community, and anybody from surrounding communities can join also. So the only requirements there is they have to be 18 or under, and they have to swim the length of the pool.
And the reason this is in place is because our schools don't really have swim teams in our area.
Well, actually, Paragould and Greene County Tech both have swim teams.
Okay,
They're
great.
high
They've
school.
got swim teams now.
Yes. They do.
fantastic. I didn't know that. That's great. But he is involved in the administration of the Greene County Gators program, and in the future, probably about a month or so from now, they're going to be having this great big swim meet, and we're going to have you back on, not representing Game and Fish, but the Greene County Gators.
Right. And they can go to our website, greencountygators.com, and find out all the information, or they can go to the community center. All the practices and stuff is held at the community center here in Paragould. And
so you can read up on it between now and then the big meet is coming up in December.
Right. And that is a qualifying meet for Junior Olympics.
Wow. And it's going to be right here.
Yes, the meet is.
That's fantastic. We're going to have you on just before that meet. I believe you said December 13th is the meet. So we'll probably have you on the weekend or 2 weekends before that meet so we can have a preview of that.
Yeah. And it's no sign-up date to start on the Gators swim team, so they could
just
join
walk
now.
Up and join whenever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they practice 5 nights a week, so all they have to do is go up there anytime between 6 and 8:30.
So if you are involved in another sport like football or basketball or something, you're probably not going to be able to fit the swim team into your schedule. But there's a lot of swimmers out there that don't do anything else but swim.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not that big of a detriment. And if you can figure out a way to fit both in at the same time, more power to you.
Yep.
That's because, I mean, the more athletes you can get out there, the better. Look at that. Coach Bolin just came in here, didn't even say anything to me. Can you believe that? Coach Bolin. Coach Bolin. Can't believe you just walked in and didn't even say anything to me at all whatsoever. I'm going to remember that. Right, okay. He said, I thought you were Harry Carey. I don't know you. Yeah, sure you did. That's going to do it for us. Thank you so much
Thank you for
coming
having
in.
me.
This is James Foster from Arkansas Game and Fish and, incidentally, the Greene County Gators swim team. We're going to have him back again real soon. Thank you for giving us all that dear information. That's very important because we're coming right up on it.
Yes, sir.
Our next broadcast will be from Wynne High School, and we bring you the game of the year in the 5A East Conference. Batesville at Wynne. That is coming up Friday, and then, of course, we'll be right back here Saturday morning, Double G Sports Talk Saturday. I already know a couple of the guests we're going to have. I'll go ahead and tell you. We're going to have Coach Rick Smith, the girls coach from Marmaduke. He'll be in here, girls basketball coach, on Saturday. And I believe if you were a listener of our radio programs last year, if you remember Monica Specking, the body builder, oh gosh, I can't remember, international bodybuilding pro. She's a pro, and she's from right here, and we believe she's going to be back here. She's about to move away from her hometown of Paragould, and we want to talk to her again one more time before she moves away. I believe we've got her lined up for next week. If not, it'll be the week after that. But we've got lots of great stuff coming. Football season in full force and basketball season about to start, and we're going to have it all for you right here on your PrimetimeSports.com. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you Friday night from Wynne, Arkansas.